As questions are raised about the president's entire lame duck agenda, one specific area of concern is him rushing the confirmation of our next attorney general before the new Congress is in place. Now, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, he expressed his view today, tweeted out Democratic senators who just lost their seats shouldn't confirm the new attorney general. The nominee should be vetted by the new Congress. Here with exclusive reaction to this major news this week in Washington, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, good to see you. How are you?
How are you, Sean?
Heck of a week, huh?
Congratulations.
You agree with Ted Cruz on that?
Sure. It should be the next Congress. I mean, the American people have just had a very, very big election. We're going to have a new Congress. He's going to select Loretta Lynn from the Eastern District of New York.
You know her?
I do. I know her well. Probably actually a good sign that he isn't going too far to the left, too far to the right. He's picking somebody that's essentially a professional prosecutor. I actually think she'd have, of course, I don't know her whole background. I think she'd have a good chance of getting through the new Congress.
Off the top of your head, you don't see any rigid ideology like Attorney General Holder.
So why create the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, so now you put her through this Congress, you're going to sort of put a stain on her. So put her before the next Congress. She's got the credentials. She's been a prosecutor, if not all her life, most of her life. She's a professional. She's not a political operative. She runs one of the. I mean, you can make a lot of good arguments where you would probably get a lot of Republican votes, and it's also part of the spirit of understanding the result of the election and showing the American people, some humility.
He didn't really show that on Wednesday. He was kind of lecturing the 2/3 of Americans that didn't vote, like you don't appreciate me. Here's where we are. Since he's been president, his party has lost 14 seats in the United States Senate. In the House, a net loss of, right now, 72 seats. Among governors, he's lost 10 governorships, a net loss of hundreds and hundreds of state legislators. Republicans now have solid control of the Senate, overwhelming control of the House, their strongest position since the 1920s.
Wow.
And that's same with state legislatures, since the 1920s. Is this how do you interpret the election?
Somehow there's a lack of common sense operating here with the president and the White House. You can't possibly read those results as not being a rejection of what you're doing and therefore making big changes. I work for Ronald Reagan. This is when Ronald Reagan brought in Senator Baker, right?
And late in his term.
Yeah.
Second term.
This is when Clinton went triangulation. Two men who have common sense. To read these results as, I got 2 years and I'm just going straight ahead with my ideology, and this idea of amnesty by executive order is absolutely illegal.
It's unconstitutional.
First of all, it's unconstitutional. I don't agree with impeachment because I think impeachment gives him what he wants. But I do agree with legal action. I don't see why you can't bring a writ of mandamus, which the writ of mandamus requires a public official to do your duty. And sure, you can have some prosecutorial discretion. You can say, I'm not going to prosecute this case or that case or this case. But suppose I, as a United States attorney, said, I'm not going to prosecute any racketeering cases. None.
Well, you're not doing your job.
I'm not doing my job. They bring a writ of mandamus requiring me to do it.
All right, here's I think I agree with you in this sense. I think the president has set up, Jonathan Turley calls it, we are now on the brink of a constitutional tipping point, a crisis. And this is precipitated by the president's actions. He's now chosen not to enforce aspects of the health care law. He didn't require or fulfill the work requirements for welfare. He has specifically not been enforcing our immigration laws. So he wants this crisis. How should the Republicans handle it? Because I agree, there's a temptation that maybe some of them would go overboard.
Don't overdo it. They should handle it through defunding what they can defund, keeping back money from areas where he needs money to carry out these illegal actions. And there should be significant legal action, like a writ of mandamus and similar kinds of actions, where the courts require the president to carry out the law. The president has the obligation to carry out the laws of the United States. He has some discretion, but he doesn't have discretion to decide not to carry out entire categories of laws.
No. And ignore the laws on the books now.
Exactly right.
All right. If I were in the leadership, which I am not, in the House and Senate, this would be my strategy. I would put bill after bill after bill on this man's desk.
First one is the pipeline.
XL pipe, Keystone XL pipeline.
Let him veto that. That's going to get 12, 15 Democratic votes. I predict that passes the Senate 62, 63, 64, 65.
So they can override a veto.
Yeah. Let him override or veto with 12, 15 Democratic votes. Put a balanced budget in front,
on his desk.
On his desk, and let him veto a balanced. Let him veto a balanced
health care repeal law, Obamacare repeal law on his desk
with significant changes that we would make in that same law.
Right.
So you repeal Obamacare and you replace it with being able to buy insurance nationwide
across state lines.
Being able to have triple the health accounts that we presently have.
Medical device tax.
Setting up a tax deduction for businesses. Put in about 10 or 12 provisions that, in essence, he made medical care more government oriented. So we take away the government orientation and we substitute moving it more to the private sector. Let him veto that bill, but don't send him just the Obama law.
Put in the alternative.
Put in all the a nice look. They want.
And if he vetoes it,
how big was Obama law? 1,000 pages.
2,000.
Okay, so now we'll have 4,000 pages. 2,000 of his and 2,000 of ours. It'll be this big.
I don't know if that's going to be good for the country. All right, Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Been a good week.